President Trump exclusively telling Fox News that he thinks the temperature has to be brought down after the raid at his Mar-a-Lago home. But apparently one MSNBC host has a different idea.
We have to stop separating the GOP and right-wing extremists, because I think you make such a good point. Elected officials are demonizing institutions. We're seeing it play out before us. I think about states like Texas, where the Republican governor there, Greg Abbott, has declared guns for everybody, regardless of background check or training. Also empowered partisan poll watchers there. Also emboldened people to deputize themselves as the protector of fetuses when it comes to abortion rights. And so the confluence of all these things could certainly declare mass violence.
A district media group president, Beverly Hallberg, joins us now. Beverly, so to the mainstream media, demanding accountability is extremist?
Yeah, well, they're the ones who are extreme, and I think what they're going to find is as they continue with this line of rhetoric, trying to tie every Republican to this MAGA right-wing extremist viewpoint that they think is out there, they're going to find that the American people turn on them. I think this is actually pointing to many Democrats who are in lockstep with mainstream elite media officials, is that they're scared about midterms. They see that it's not going their way, and they're trying to do whatever they can to make this about Donald Trump. They think that's the winning ticket, but I think we'll find in November that there are many Americans who are upset with the direction of this country, put the blame on Joe Biden, and the media are trying to cover up for him.
Yeah, well, I think a majority of Republicans can separate a moderate Democrat like Joe Manchin from AOC. So, you know, is Tiffany Cross in the majority in terms of how Democrats feel about Republicans, or is it just her opinion alone?
It's just, well, I think it's the media's opinion. They think all Republicans fit into this extremist camp, and that's not the reality. Even some of the things that the host listed there, she talked about abortion, yet many Americans, even if they consider themselves pro-choice, allowing people to have abortion, they think there should be limits on abortion. Most Americans agree with that. A lot of Americans think that you should have the right to protect yourself, even if they think there should be limits to that. So what you see is the media elite are going to this extreme position. Americans aren't lining up, and that's part of the reason why you're even seeing, whether it's MSNBC or CNN or other media outlets, their ratings are tanking. People aren't turning to them for the truth.
Meantime, a Washington Post columnist declaring that Biden has finally come into his own after the FBI's raid of Mar-a-Lago, stating it will act as a reset moment for his presidency. Quote, the last thing the White House wanted was an event that would relegate Biden's victories to second or third place in the news cycle. This is the month Biden finally came into his own. Biden may go down as achieving something like Ronald Reagan did, but in reverse. His time in office is altering the nation's assumptions about government and its role in our economic life. Again, continuing this theme, Beverly, does the mainstream media have any clue as to what the mainstream American thinks? Because I was talking to people this weekend, had a couple days off down there with the real people, and two things stood out. One, they were concerned about the FBI raid, and two, they were concerned about IRS audits. That's all anybody was talking about.
Yeah, this columnist wants to point to Biden as return to normalcy, but the reality is the FBI raid has left us with more questions than answers. Americans are concerned about that. It's also the 1 year since the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. People are concerned about that. And even though Biden is going to tout his legislative victories this month, especially the fact that he's going to be signing the Inflation Reduction Act, or the so-called Inflation Reduction Act today, the reality is it doesn't match up with the fact that people are still facing high inflation. And so this is a complete disconnect with what Americans are feeling. I think they're actually concerned about the direction of the country. That's why polling numbers show that people are concerned about the direction of this country. And so I just think it's completely out of touch. I think what this columnist is doing is trying to save face for President Biden, because many Democrats don't even want him to come to their election rallies. People don't want to say whether or not they would vote or support Joe Biden if he ran again, and I think that's concerning to those in his administration.
Beverly Hallberg, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.